Hello and welcome to JavaScript Programming Language course for beginners. This is an introduction to JavaScript course. Here you'll see the source and reference for this video. I hope you'll be able to follow along this JavaScript course. The prerequisites for this course are the following: Sublime Text Editor and a web browser. As you watch this video, please bear in mind about our ESLRs. And these are right thought, right communication, right attitude, right conduct, and right lifestyle. Now let's proceed to our lesson. Section 9, JavaScript and Images. Lesson 9.4, JavaScript Timers. We have just seen how to use mouse over and mouse out events to implement a rudimentary animation. But we can use a timer to achieve the same thing. Get one or more images to replace others. We'll take a look at a simple image using the same two images as previously: the eye and the shutter. Set interval timer. JavaScript timers come in two flavors: set interval and set timeout. We use set interval to execute code every so often, and a second one, for example, to use set timeout to delay execution of our code. Don't run the code until 5 seconds have passed. The timer we'll use is set interval. Add the following HTML to the body section. So it's just the home.jpg image with an ID of image1. We also have a button that has an onClick event. The event calls a function with the name timer. Add this timer function between the two script tags, as well as the Boolean variable above it. We'll see what the flip variable does shortly. In between the curly brackets of the function, we have this line: animation equals set interval px 1000. This sets up a global variable that we've called animation. It's global because there's no var keyword before it. This way, the rest of the code can see what's in it. To the right of the equal sign, we have set interval px 1000. The set interval method needs two things. The first thing it needs is the name of a function. The second thing it needs is a time in milliseconds. 1000 milliseconds equals 1 second. The two are separated by a comma. What set interval does is to execute our function once after every millisecond, or whatever time we put after the comma. If you had 3000 after the comma, the function would get executed once every 3 seconds. The set interval method needs two things. The first thing it needs is the name of a function. The second thing it needs is a time in milliseconds. The px function can now be added to our code. Here it is. You'll recognize the document.getElement by ID lines from the previous section. They are exactly the same. This time, however, they are wrapped up in an if-else statement. If the Boolean variable called flip is set to false, then the home2.jpg image is displayed. If it's set to true, then the other image is displayed. The final line is this. This read flip equals not flip. In other words, we're setting the variable to be the opposite of what it currently is. If we don't do this, the variable would be stuck up false all the time and the animation wouldn't work. However, we need a way to stop it. To do that, JavaScript has a clear interval method. In between its round brackets, we only need an ID. This is the ID from the left of the equal sign we set up earlier. The variable animation is the one that holds the ID, which is returned from setInterval. We then just do this. Clear interval animation. Notice we don't need to set up a variable for clear interval. Just pass it your ID. So add a new button to your body tags like this. Input type button value equals stop and on-click stop timer. Now we'll add the stop timer function to our code. Function stop timer clear interval animation. For a complete list of codes and classwork in this lesson, please check Google Classroom. Thank you.